Hello, my name is Jason Lupton. Today's date is September 12th, 2025. This is week 2 project for FTT 211. Today we're going to be cleaning up the muzzle of the muzzle loader, and then we are going to do the lapping to clean up the exit rifling of the muzzle barrel here. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to chuck it up in our vise and we're going to see how square it is. So first thing we're going to talk about is the roughness of the barrel. So first thing I'm going to check is to see how square the barrel is using each of my flats here. And then we will address any inconsistencies and move on from there. So we are flat across the barrel here. It looks, just because of the shadow, we got a little bit, there we go. So flat there. We're flat there. Let's check from the other side. Good and flat there. That one's not going to be able to focus, is it? There we go. So I'm going to say this barrel's true. So a couple of the things that I want to do. I want to taper the corners here. That's the style that I'm going for. And then with our lap, we are going to take the interior portion here down to about 45 degrees. But first, I want to clean up the very edge of the muzzle here. So some light polishing, and that'll take those machinist marks out. So that's going to be the first step. Stand by. So what we're trying to go for here with our barrel is to make, so say this is, sorry for the unsteady hand here. So this is the bore of our rifle barrel. Continued. So what I want to do is make this edge taper in just like that. And when we lap it, we want these edges to taper in. So it ends up looking something like this. Nope, I messed that up. End up looking something like this. Obviously, this is exaggerated a bit. So this will be our barrel. So I think before I polish, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can knock down these corners here. And we'll probably leave the flats mostly alone. But once we get the corners knocked down like we want, then we will polish the end there. So what I'm going to take is just a standard file. And I'm going to coat it with chalk. And it's just going to start pretty simply here. So I'm going to continue doing that until we get to where we want to be. And then we will meet back up and see the results. So a quick note, I decided to use a barrel plug to keep metal shavings from going down the barrel. Just leaves me with less to clean up later. So I've got my edges sanded down the way I liked them. Kind of creates a, maybe, there we go. Kind of creates a rolled pattern right here. I kind of like that. But so now we're going to clean up the end of the muzzle. For that, I'm going to use this piece of cut wood that I used. And we're gonna try to start off with some 220 grit here and see if that's gonna take it off. If not, we will move up in coarseness to 180. So we'll start. Right now my lines are coming this way. So we're gonna go against the lines that are already there. As you can see, I've just got my sanding lines from a 220 grit now, so I can jump down to a 300 or 400 grit and clean that up. But for now, we're going to go around the edges and make sure those are all cleaned up, and we'll be back with the finished product. All right, so now I have polished it down to 400 grit. I've got my edges shaped like I wanted. I'm gonna have to clean out the barrel anyway, so that plug really didn't matter. So now we can start our lapping. So first thing we're going to do is chuck up our lapping bit and stir up some lapping compound and get this started. So to start, we've got some Wheeler 220 grit lapping compound, and we're going to go ahead and mix that up and get ready to lap our barrel. All right, so we got a little bit of lapping compound. We're just going to take and apply it to our finger here. Put it on the working edge of the lap. And then we're going to try to ensure that we're coming in straight on our muzzle. And we'll start at a slow speed. And we'll keep checking, make sure that we're using the lapping compound on the barrel and not just the brass. And we'll keep doing that until we get the desired result. So let's go ahead and clean that up and see where we're at. Okay, yeah, so we still got a long ways to go. So we want these edges to be knocked down to 45 coming from the flat surface here into the chamber or the bore here. So it want to be a 45-degree transition between the two. So we're going to keep on and we'll come back to it. All right, so now we've pretty much finished our muzzle crown. But as you can see, I've got a lot of debris inside the barrel. Now, you can avoid that by taking some putty or some sort of material and stuffing down in there when you're sanding, but when you're doing lapping, there's not much you can do. So the next thing we gotta do is clean it out. So I am just going to take a little bit of brake clean, if I can get it focused, and I am going to spray down the barrel and clean it out the best I can. And I'll probably end up taking it up and putting it to the air compressor and see if I can't blow the rest of it out. We just don't want any debris to stay inside the barrel. So we're kind of spray it down real quick. And then we're gonna take it out of our vise and we're gonna shake it around a bit. And let's see, there you have it. It's all cleaned up. Now, it's rounded pretty good right here, you can see. But my last step, I'm gonna take some 4/0 steel wool and I'm gonna clean everything up, make it look pretty. And so for next week, we can do our browning. So let's do that real quick. Put it back in our vise. Now the book tells us that we can take the same sanding block and put our steel wool on it and use that to get a good finish on our muzzle crown here. And we're definitely gonna have to take this up to the air compressor and blow it out afterwards. I think that looks much better. Let's see if we can turn it towards the camera a little bit more. I think that's about got it. So anyway, so for next week we will be browning the barrel. And I think we are about ready. As you can see, I've already got a few rust spots forming here, so cleaning the barrel is going to be fun. But that's all for this week.